Welcome back to This is Thailand, the channel where we sit with the men who came here chasing something and tell you the truth about what they found. Tonight's story is a little different from the ones you're used to hearing from us. Most of the men who sit down with us got cleaned out, lost the house, the savings, the pension, the lot. This one didn't. This one is a 54-year-old German named Wolfgang from the coal country of the Ruhr Valley, a man who spent 30 years underground breaking his body in the mines around Bottrop and Herne. And when a quiet masseuse in Pattaya started reeling him in the same way she'd reeled in others, Wolfgang did something almost nobody in these stories does. He decided the safest thing he could do was let her think he was stupid. How he figured out what was happening, what it cost him to find out, and what he did in the end instead of blowing it all up in her face, that's the whole story. And it's going to stick with you. So sit back. Here's Wolfgang, in his own words. I am not a clever man. I want to say this first so you understand. People hear that I caught it, that I got out, and they think, this Wolfgang, he is sharp, he is smart. No, I am not smart. I was lucky, and I had one habit that saved me. That is all. One habit. I will tell you about it. For 30 years I worked underground. A bergman, we say. A miner. Hard coal, the deep pits around Bottrop, later near Herne. You do not know this work unless you have done it. You go down in the cage in the morning when it is dark, and you come up when it is dark. And in the winter you do not see the sun for weeks. Weeks. You forget the color of it. And down there I will tell you what matters. Not clever. Down there, clever gets you killed. What matters is you check your gear. You check the man's gear next to you. You check the roof, the timber, the props, the air. Every day the same boring checks. The men who died, most of them, they died because somebody got comfortable and stopped checking. That is the whole job, really. You do the boring thing every single day, even when nothing is wrong, especially when nothing is wrong. That habit went into my bones. 30 years. You cannot take it out again. Then Germany closed the pits. All of them. The hard coal finished. 2018, the last one. They gave us a big ceremony. The politicians came. Everyone very sad, very proud. And then it was over, and I was 50 years old with nothing to do with my hands. They gave me a severance and a stipend to retrain. Retrain for what? I went to some courses, computers, logistics, this and that. Nothing took. You cannot make a coal miner into an office man at 50. Or maybe you can, but not this one. But it was fine. It was hard, but it was fine, because I had Renate. Renate. We were married 26 years. She was, how do I say it? She was the loud one. I was the quiet one. She talked enough for both of us, thank God, because I am no good at it. She had this laugh. The neighbors could hear it. When I came up from the pit, she always had the radio on and food on, and the whole house was warm with her. I went fishing one weekend with my brother Dieter, up to the lakes, 2 nights, and when I came back, she was on the kitchen floor. Hard. The doctor said it was very fast, that she did not suffer, that it would have been over in a minute or two. They always say this. Maybe it is even true. 51 years old. No warning. She was not sick. With Renate, there was nothing to prepare for. You understand? Some men, their wife is ill for 2 years, 3 years, and it is terrible, but they get ready in their heart. I got no ready. I went fishing, and I came home, and my life was over on the kitchen floor. I do not talk about this part usually. 1 a.m. telling you because you need to understand what kind of man walked into that massage shop later. A hollow one. After that, the house. God, the house. Everybody says the silence, and it sounds like a cliche, but it is not a cliche. It is the truest thing. That radio never went on again. I would come into the kitchen, and it was so quiet I could hear the fridge. 2 years I lived like that. 2 years I heard that fridge. My brother said, sell it. Dieter is practical. He said, Wolfgang, this house is eating you. Sell it and do something. And he was right. I sold it. The house in Gelsenkirchen, my parents' house before it was ours. Sold, and suddenly I had money. This is the strange part. Between the house and the mine severance and the pension buyout, I had around 190,000 euros sitting in the bank. I never had money like this in my life. A minor does not have 190,000 euro. I did not even know how to feel about it. It just sat there, like it belonged to somebody else. Now, Thailand. I have to be honest about why, and the honest answer is Klaus. Klaus worked the pits with me years back, and he retired to a place called Yom Tien, near Pattaya. And on the Facebook, he would not shut up about it. Every day, a photo. Klaus on the beach. Klaus with a big Leo beer, the bottle sweating in the heat. Klaus eating something on a stick from a street cart, grinning like an idiot. 30 degrees in January, and me sitting in Gelsenkirchen in the gray, listening to the fridge. I want to be very clear about one thing, because it matters for everything that comes after. I was not going to Thailand for a woman. I swear this to you. I know every man says this, and then look what happens. But it is the truth for me. I did not want a wife. I had a wife, the best one. I was not looking to replace Renata. You cannot replace her. I wanted warmth. I wanted a cold beer that did not cost €5. I wanted to sit somewhere and not hear that fridge, not hear that silence, not be the sad widower in the netto queue that everybody in the neighborhood knew about. That is all I wanted, sun and quiet and a bit of life around me. And I told myself something, sitting on that plane. I told myself, Wolfgang, you are 54. You are not stupid. You are not one of these lonely old fools who go to Thailand and get taken for everything by a girl half their age. You have heard the stories. Everybody has heard the stories. You will not be one of them. I actually thought that. I want you to remember I thought that. That was the most dangerous thing in my whole head, and I did not know it yet. The flight was 13 hours, and I did not sleep 1 minute of it. When the plane doors opened at Suvarnabhumi, the heat came in like a hand on your face. I have worked in a mine, you understand. I know heat. Down in the pit, it is hot in a dry, dead way. A machine kind of hot. This was different. This was wet. It wrapped around you. By the time I got to the taxi rank, my shirt was stuck to my back, and I stood there thinking, yeah, this is it. This is what Klaus was going on about. Klaus met me in Pattaya, 2 hours in the car from the airport, the driver going far too fast, weaving through motorbikes. Whole families on one little Honda, the mother holding a baby, nobody wearing a helmet. In Germany, you would have a heart attack. Here it is just Tuesday. Klaus had a place in Yomtien near the beach, and the first thing he did was take me to a little bar on Soi Buakau and put a Leo in my hand. Big bottle, ice cold, condensation running down it. 55 baht. I remember I laughed out loud. In Germany, that beer is 5, 6 euro in a bar. Here it was not even €1.50. Klaus saw my face and said, "Ja, Wolfgang, now you understand." And he clinked his bottle on mine. Those first weeks, I have to tell you honestly, they were good. Really good. I slept. That is the thing I remember most. Back in Gelsenkirchen, I had not slept a full night in 2 years. I would wake at 3, 4, and just lie there in the dark with the fridge humming and Renate not there. But in Pattaya, with the fan going and the motorbikes buzzing past outside and somewhere far off a bar playing music too loud, I slept like a stone. The noise did not bother me. It was the opposite. The noise meant life was happening. The silence was the thing that killed me, and here there was no silence anywhere. I got up in the mornings and walked down to Jomtien Beach and had breakfast at a little place. Cow pad in the morning, if you can believe it, fried rice for breakfast, and a Thai coffee so sweet it made my teeth hurt. I watched the monks come by in their orange robes very early, before the heat got bad. There is a spirit house outside every building here. Little golden temples on a pole with flowers and orange Fanta left for the spirits. Orange Fanta. I asked Klaus why Fanta, and he said, nobody knows. It is just what they do. I like that. I like that not everything had a reason. Now, I have to be honest about the nightlife because it matters. Klaus took me to Walking Street one night. All the neon, the noise, the girls outside the go-go bars calling out, "Hello, handsome, come sit, one drink." Music pounding out of every doorway. And the men. My God, the men. Old Farang, my age, older, some of them could barely walk, sitting there with girls young enough to be their granddaughter, hanging on their arm. And the old fool grinning like he had won the lottery. Buying lady drinks, 200 baht a pop. The girl drinking colored water, and the man paying for it all night. And I stood there with my Leo, and I felt something ugly. I felt superior. I looked at those men, and I thought, look at these idiots, these dumb Farang. They come here lonely and stupid, and these girls see them coming from a mile away, and they hand over everything, and then they cry on the Facebook groups about how they got scammed. Not me. I am not like this. I am from the Ruhrgebiet. I checked roof supports for 30 years with my life. You think a bar girl is going to fool a man like me? I actually felt sorry for them. That was my mistake, if you want to know where it started. Not a girl, not a bar. It started right there, with me feeling superior to a bunch of lonely old men. Because the moment you decide you are too smart to be fooled, you stop checking. And I told you already, checking is the only thing I was ever good at. The one habit that keeps you alive. And I had just quietly decided I did not need it. But I did not know that yet. I just felt clever and went home and slept. Now the knee. This is how it happened. Not a bar, not walking street. A knee. 30 years kneeling on rock and wet coal seams does something to a man's knees. My right one had been bad for years, but with all the walking on the hard Pattaya pavements, the concrete, it flared up properly. By the second week I was limping. Klaus said, go get a massage. There are shops everywhere, cheap, they will sort you out. And there are. Massage shops on every soi. Some are the other kind, you understand. The ones with the girls out front in short dresses. That is not massage. Everybody knows what that is. But there are also normal ones. Proper Thai massage. And down a little soi off Soi Buakaw, there was one that looked clean and quiet. No girls calling out. Just a sign and a few plastic chairs and the smell of that Thai balm. The tiger balm smell, menthol and camphor drifting out the door. I went in, and that is where I met Nok. She was not what you picture. That is the first thing. When people hear masseuse, they think young, painted up, flirting. Nok was maybe mid-30s, hair tied back, no makeup to speak of, a plain shop uniform. Calm, very calm. She did not flirt with me, did not call me handsome, none of that. She asked what was wrong, and I pointed at the knee, and she just nodded and got to work. And she knew what she was doing. This was the thing. She found the exact spot, the bad spot without me telling her, dug her thumb in there, and I nearly came off the mat. And she just gave this small laugh, not mean, and kept working it. She worked that knee like she understood the joint, like she knew the muscle underneath. An hour, 300 baht, about €8. I walked out and the knee was better than it had been in a year. I went back 2 days later, and here's the thing that got me. She remembered. She remembered which knee, the right one, remembered exactly where the bad spot was, went straight to it. She remembered that I was German, asked was I from Germany, said one of her regular customers before was German also, a nice man. She remembered me. You have to understand what that did to a man like me. 2 years, nobody touched me. Nobody. You do not think about it until it is gone. The simple thing of another person's hands on you, someone paying attention to your body, to you. Renata used to rub my shoulders after a shift without me even asking. And then for 2 years, nothing. Just me in the fridge. And here was this quiet woman who remembered my bad knee. I told myself it was just the massage, just the knee. That is all it was, I told myself. I went back 3 times that week. By the 3rd week, I had stopped pretending it was about the knee. I still went for the knee. Yeah, the knee was real. But I was going every second day now, sometimes every day, and a man does not need a knee massage every day. I knew this. She knew this. Nobody said it out loud. That is the thing about Thailand I was still learning. A lot of things do not get said out loud. So I did the thing that men do. I asked if I could book her private, outside the shop. She could come to me, or we could arrange the hours, and I would pay her direct. 1,500 baht a session, about €40. Now understand, in the shop it was 300 baht for the hour. 1,500 is 5 times that. But I told myself it was fair. She was leaving the shop for me. The shop took a cut normally. She should get more. This was only right. That is how I did the arithmetic in my head. Very reasonable. Very German. I had a reason for everything. And a few times a week, 40 euro. What is that? I had 190,000 euros sitting in the bank. 40 euro was nothing to me. I would spend more than that on a bad night in a Gelsenkirchen restaurant that I did not even enjoy. Here I was getting the massage in the company of a calm, kind woman who remembered my knee. It felt like the best money I ever spent. And it was not just the massage, if I am honest. We started to talk. Her English was not good, and my English is not good either. So we talked slow, simple, and somehow that made it easier. Two people with small words. She told me her name properly. Everyone calls her Knock, it means bird, a nickname. They all have these nicknames. And her real name I could never say right, and she laughed at me trying. That laugh. Not the bar girl laugh. A real one, embarrassed almost. She took me to a temple one day. What's somewhere up past Sukhumvit, I forget the name, showed me how to do it properly. The incense, the 3 sticks, the kneeling, how to weigh us to the Buddha. She was serious about it. This was not performance for the Farang. She lit the incense for her family, she said, for her mother. And she showed me how to shake the little sticks in the cup until one falls out. For your fortune. And mine said something about patience, and I laughed, and she did not laugh. She said, patience is good, Wolfgang. You have patience? I said, 30 years underground. Of course I have patience. She cooked for me too. Sometime the papaya salad, pounded fresh in that wooden mortar, so hot with the chili I was sweating and crying, and she thought this was the funniest thing she ever saw. The big German crying over papaya. Moo Ping from the cart on the corner, the little pork skewers, sticky rice in the plastic bag. Simple food. Good food. I had not had someone cook for me since Renate. I want you to sit with that for a second, because it is the whole thing. Since Renato, no one had cooked for me. And here is where I have to be fair. To her, and to Thailand, and to you watching. Because I know what this sounds like. It sounds like the start of every stupid story. Old lonely Farang, young calm woman, cooking in temples, oh, here we go. And maybe it was, but it was also just nice. It was genuinely nice. There was no hard sell. There was no birthday, no sick water buffalo, no gold necklace she was hinting at. Weeks of this, and she never asked me for one bat beyond the massage money that I offered myself. That is what got me. The patience of it. She was patient, more patient than me. She told me about her family slowly over those weeks. She was from Buriram, out in Isan, the poor northeast, the rice country, eldest daughter. And you have to understand what that means out there. The eldest daughter carries the family. It is not a suggestion. It is not a guilt trip. It is just the fact of her life. Her father was gone. Her mother was not well. She had a younger brother still in school. And she had come down to Pattaya to do massage because there was more money in it than rice. And she sent money home every month like it was a bill, like the electric. Now, a smarter man, or maybe just a colder man, hears all this and thinks, here is the setup. Here is where the money story is going to come from. The poor mother, the family in Ison, I have heard this one. And part of me, the minor part, the part that checks the roof, did hear it that way. A little. But I told myself something. I told myself, Wolfgang, not everything is a scam. These people really are poor. This obligation to the family, this is real. This is their whole culture. You read about it. The eldest daughter really does carry everyone. And that was true. That is the thing. It was true. That is what makes it so hard. She really was from Buriram. She really was the eldest daughter. The obligation really is real out there. None of that was a lie. So when the talk of her family got more serious, I did not hear alarm bells. I heard a good woman worried about her mother, and I respected it. Where I come from, you take care of your own too. My father worked the same pit as me, and when he got the dust in the lung that all of them got, I took care of him. I understood taking care of family. It was maybe the one thing I understood best. I think that is why it worked on me. Not because I was stupid, though I was stupid, because the thing they used was a thing I actually believed in. One evening she was quieter than usual. rubbing my knee, not really talking. And I asked what is wrong, and she said, nothing. My pen rai, never mind, it is not your problem. Which of course is the surest way to make a thing your problem. I asked again. She said her mother in Buriram was not good. Something with the heart, she said, or the kidney. I did not fully understand the English of it. The hospital wanted money before they would do the tests. And she said, and I remember this exactly, she said, I not tell you this for money, Wolfgang. I not want your money. I just sad today. I should have asked more questions. The way she said it, that exact way, I not want your money. Should have asked which hospital. Should have asked to see something. Didn't. I just wanted to help her. That was all I could feel right then. This kind woman was sad, and I had 190,000 euro doing nothing, and her mother needed tests. You already know what I did. I gave her the money. Of course I gave her the money. 35,000 baht, about 900 euro, for the hospital in Buriram, for the tests on her mother's heart or kidney or whatever it was. And I want to be honest with you about how it felt, because this is the part people do not understand. It did not feel like being robbed. It felt good. It felt wonderful. For the first time in 2 years, I was a man who could fix something. You understand? Since the pit closed, since Renati, I had been a man things happened to. My work taken. My wife taken. I sat in that house and life just did things to me, and I could not do anything back. And now here was a problem, a real problem, a sick mother in a hospital wanting money, and I could reach into my pocket and solve it. 35,000 baht. Done. Fixed. Not cried when I gave it. Held my hand with both of hers and did the why, and could not look at me. Said she would pay it back, every baht from the massage. I said no. No, it is a gift. Family is family. And I felt 10 feet tall. I felt like a man again. That feeling was worth more to me than the 900 euro. And if you want the honest truth, that feeling is what she was really selling. Not massage. That feeling. Now. The minor in me. He was not completely asleep. I want to be fair to myself. I was not a total fool. Because a small thing bothered me, right at the edge. There was no paper, no hospital bill, no letter, no name of the hospital even. In Germany, mein Gott, if your mother goes to hospital, you get 17 pieces of paper before she even sees a doctor. Here, nothing. Just Knock's word and Knock's tears. And I did think about it. For maybe half a second I thought, Wolfgang asked to see something. But then I heard the other voice, the voice I had brought with me on the plane, and it said, you cannot ask a crying woman for a receipt for her sick mother. That is insulting. That is exactly what a cold, suspicious Farang would do. One of those bitter old men in the Facebook groups who think every Thai is a thief. You are better than that. You trust her. Kreng Jai, they call it. This Thai thing, this not wanting to cause someone to lose face, not pushing, not making things uncomfortable. I had learned the word by then, and I used it on myself. I told myself asking for paperwork would be bad Kreng Jai. I used their own beautiful idea to talk myself out of checking the roof. That is the trick of it, you see. They do not fool you. You fool yourself, and they just stand back and let you. Klaus saw it before I did. Good old Klaus. We were at that same beer bar on Soi Buachau, a couple of Leos in, and I told him about the mother, the hospital, the 35,000. Proud of myself almost. And Klaus put his bottle down and looked at me with his tired face and said, Wolfgang, the mother. In these stories, the mother is always sick. I did not like that. I did not like it one bit. I got hot about it. I said, you do not know her, Klaus. She is not like that. She did not even want to take it. I had to push it on her. And Klaus just shrugged. The way you shrug at a man who has already decided, and he said, yeah, okay. And he drank his beer. And something cooled between us that night. My oldest friend here, the man who brought me over, and I chose a masseuse I had known 6 weeks over 30 years of knowing him. I chose her. I think about that a lot now. Klaus was checking my gear for me. That is what a good mate does down the pit. He checks the thing you cannot see. And I slapped his hand away. After that, it deepened fast. Knock more or less moved in, not officially, but her things were at my place, her shampoo in the bathroom, her flip-flops by the door. She cooked every night now. She called me her fan, her boyfriend, told her friends, and they would smile at me on the street. The whole massage shop knew Knock has her German. And I liked it. I liked being someone's again. I liked the flip-flops by the door. After 2 years of one toothbrush in the cup, there were two, and I cannot tell you what that did to me. The money kept moving, but small, reasonable. I paid her rent so she could give up her room, $5,000 a month, nothing. I gave her something for her brother's school. I gave her a bit each month for the family in Buriram, $10,000, because that is what you do here. Everyone does it. The eldest daughter sends money home, and now I was helping her do her duty. It felt honorable. I was not being milked, I told myself. I was joining a family. I was taking my place in something. And here is the thing I still cannot untangle, even now. Some of that was probably real. That is what nobody tells you. The brother probably was in school. The family in Buriram probably was poor. She probably did send money home. All of that is probably true. That is why it works. It is not a clean lie you could catch. It is a true thing with a hook hidden inside it, and you cannot see the hook because your hand is already reaching for the true thing. I stopped counting so carefully. That was the change. In the first weeks, I knew every baht, 40 euro here, the German in me tracking it all. But once she was my fan, once it was family, I stopped doing the arithmetic. Money just flowed out in little streams, and each stream was reasonable, and I did not add them up. A man who checks his gear every single day for 30 years, and I stopped adding up the numbers. That is how far gone I was. And I was happy, I have to say that too. Those weeks I was genuinely happy. Whatever came after, I will not pretend I was miserable and being bled. I was warm and fed and not alone, and I slept like a stone. Then one evening over some tam and a chang, very casual, like it was nothing, Knox said she had an idea. She was tired of the shop taking half her money. She wanted her own place, a small massage shop, just small. And she looked at me and she said, maybe we do together, Wolfgang. You and me, our shop. And God help me, my first feeling was not suspicion. My first feeling was pride. The number she wanted was 280,000 baht, about 7,200 euro. She laid it out for me one night, and I have to say, she laid it out well. A small shop unit off Soibokau, not far from where she worked now. The deposit and the first month's rent, the fit out, the beds, the oils, the towels, a little reception, the sign, the licenses, because you need permits for this, she said. The government paper. Added up, 280,000. And she was not asking me to give it. She was very careful about that. We do together, she said. Partners. You put the money, I do the work, and the shop is ours. Later we share. And here's the thing. For a day, maybe two, I was flying. Because this was not a handout. This was a business. This was me, Wolfgang, the man with no second career, the man who took a retraining stipend and made nothing of it, finally building something with these two hands. I would sit at the shop in the evenings, I thought. I would keep the books. I am good with numbers. I am German. I would run it proper. Knock would do the massage and I would do the business side, and we would have a life. A real life, not just an old man drinking Leo on a plastic stool. I could see it. That is the dangerous thing. I could see the whole thing, clear as day. 7,000 euro. Now, I want to be clear about the money, because you are watching and doing your own arithmetic, and you should. I had come with around 190,000 euro. I had put 800,000 baht, about 22,000 euro, into a Thai bank for the retirement visa, because at 54 you can do the non-O retirement visa if you have the money sitting there. And I did it properly, that part one did right. So the visa money was locked away and safe. The 7,000 for the shop would come from what was left. It would not break me. Even with everything I had given Knock already. The mother, the rent, the brother, the monthly money to Buriram. I was maybe 11, 12,000 euro lighter since I arrived. Not nothing. But not the house either. I could pay the 7,000 and still be fine. So the money was not the problem. That is what I want you to understand. I could afford it. If it had just been about whether I could afford it, I would have handed it over that same week, and this would be a very different story. A worse one. But something happened when the number got big. It is hard to explain. 7,000 euro is a different animal than 900. 900 euro, you give it on feeling, on tears, on family is family. But 7,000 for a shop, with a lease, with licenses, with government paper, that is not a gift anymore. That is a project. That is a build. And I have built things. I have been on jobs where men's lives depended on doing it right. And something in me, something 30 years deep, woke up and did not ask, do I trust her? It asked a different question. It asked, where is the plan? Not angry. I want to be clear. I was not suspicious. Not yet. Not really. I was curious. The way you are curious about a section of roof that looks fine, but you have not checked yet. You do not think it is going to come down. You just want to put your lamp on it. That is all. Put the lamp on it. So I started asking questions. Gentle, just interested. Where is the shop, Knock? Can we go see it? And she said, soon, soon, the owner is busy. Okay? Who is the owner? What is his name? And she said a name, fast, and changed to talking about the beds she wanted, the nice massage beds. What about the licenses? How much are they exactly? Can I see the government office? And she laughed and touched my arm and said, Wolfgang, you think too much. In Thailand, not like Germany, not so much paper. You give me the money, I handle everything. You give me the money, I handle everything. Now a younger me, a warmer me hears that and thinks, yeah, of course, she knows the system, she is Thai, she handles it. But the minor heard it different. The minor heard, she does not want me to see the paper. And the minor has a rule, one rule, 30 years old and written in other men's blood. You do not go into the hole you have not inspected. You do not. And then a small thing. I asked casual, could we not just pay the shop owner the deposit directly, him and me? I like to shake a man's hand when I give him money. Very German, I said. We like the handshake. And I made it a joke. But I watched her face when I said it. And for just a second, half a second, something went across it. Not fear exactly. More like a card player when the wrong card comes. A little recalculation. And then it was gone and she was smiling again and saying, of course, we arrange. But I saw it. I saw the half second. I did not say anything. This is the important part, and it is the part one and 1M maybe a little bit proud of, the only part. One did not confront her. I did not get angry. I did not accuse. Because what did I have? A half second on a face, a woman not wanting to show me paper. That is nothing. That is not evidence. That is a feeling, and you do not shut a mind on a feeling. You also do not bet 7,000 euro on ignoring one. So I did the thing I know how to do. I decided to check the gear before I climbed in, quietly, without her knowing I was checking. I told her, warm as anything, yeah, sounds wonderful. Let us do it, our shop. I just need a little time. German banks. You know how they are. Very slow, very strict. I have to move the money in the right way. Give me a week. She was happy. She kissed me. Cooked me a good larb that night, the spicy one. Extra for me. And the next morning, while she was at the shop, I went and found myself a tuk-tuk driver. His name was Somchai, the tuk-tuk driver. I picked him because he was old, my age maybe, parked up near the 7-Eleven on Soi Buahau with a flask of tea, not one of the young ones looking to overcharge the Farang. Old men understand each other. I got in, gave him 100 baht just for sitting, and I played it very stupid, very slow. The dumb German, I said, my girlfriend, she opening massage shop. Here, the Soe, you know it? Good area for business? And I named the little unit Knock had pointed out to me once from a distance. Somchai looked at me in his mirror. Long look. And he did a thing Thai people do when they do not want to say something bad directly. A sort of soft laugh with no happiness in it. Kreng Jai again, working the other way now. He did not want to hurt me. And he said, that shop? And I said, ja, that one. And he said, careful, boss. I played dumber. Why careful? Good shop, no. And slowly, over maybe 2 more 100 baht loops around the block, it came out. That unit had had two other massage shops in it in the last year. Both Farang money, one German before me, one English. Both gone. The English one, Somch I heard, put in big money and the shop opened maybe 3 weeks and then closed and the man went home. He did not know all of it. He was a tuk-tuk driver, not a detective, but he knew the shape of it, the way everybody on a Soi knows the shape of things. And the shape was Farang pays, shop opens, shop dies, Farang leaves, girl stays. I thanked him, gave him 500. He did not want to take it, but I made him. Then I sat on a plastic stool outside the 7-Eleven with a cold chong I did not really want, and I did not feel angry. That is the strange thing. I felt very calm and very cold. The way you feel underground when the reading on the gas monitor is wrong and everybody has to stay quiet and think clearly. Panic kills you down there, so you go cold instead. But I still did not have the whole thing. A tuk-tuk driver's gossip is not proof. 2 failed shops could be bad luck. I had built enough to know a single crack does not mean the roof comes down. You check the next thing, and the next. So the next thing. There was another German I had seen around, younger than me, maybe 40, drank at a bar on Soy LK Metro. I had heard he also had a Thai girlfriend from the massage world. I had never really spoken to him. Now I did. Bought him a Leo, sat down, did the friendly thing, and I told him a little, careful about my knock and the shop we were going to open together, watching his face the whole time. And his face, I will not forget it. He put his beer down very slowly, and he said, "Mate, what is her name?" I told him, and he took out his phone, and he showed me a photo. And it was her. It was my knock in his photo from months ago, smiling, at a temple doing the incense with the 3 sticks. The same temple thing she showed me. The exact same. His knock and my knock were the same knock. He had put in, he told me, quiet, ashamed. He had put in nearly 400,000 baht toward a shop that opened for a month and closed. His name on nothing, because a foreigner cannot own the land, cannot really own the shop. It was all in her name and her cousin's name. And when it closed, the money was simply gone. And so was she. On to the next. The cousin. That was the piece that finished it. Because Knock had a cousin she messaged late at night, I had seen the name come up on her phone, on the line, at 2 a.m, and I had thought nothing of it, family whatever, and this younger German said the cousin is not a cousin. The cousin is her man, her Thai boyfriend. He runs it and she runs the Farang, and they have done it before, more than once. That is the business. The shop is not the business. We are the business. The shop is just the thing they use to make the big ask look like something you get to keep. I sat there, the bar music was going, some Thai pop thing too loud, and a girl was trying to get us to buy her a lady drink, and the motorbikes were screaming past on the Soi, and I sat in the middle of all of it, and I felt the whole structure of the last 2 months rearrange itself in my head. Click, click, click. Like when you finally see how a seam runs and everything that confused you before suddenly makes sense. The sad mother. Maybe real, maybe not, but the tears were a tool either way. The patience, God, the patience, that was the cleverest part. The weeks and weeks of asking for nothing. That was not her being different from the others. That was her being much, much better at it than the others. The temple, the cooking, the flip-flops by the door that undid me, all of it, possibly tools. And I could not even be fully sure which parts were real, and that is the cruelty of it, that I will never know if any of it was real, because the true parts and the false parts were mixed together so well that even now, telling you this, I cannot separate them. And underneath the cold, I have to be honest, there was something worse than anger. There was embarrassment, because I had stood on Walking Street my first week and felt superior to the old fools with the girls on their arms. I am not one of these dumb Farang, I said, and here I was, number 3 in a line, maybe number 4, on the same shop unit, running the same script the English fellow ran before me. The exact thing I laughed at. That is a special kind of shame when you become the joke you told. I bought the young German another beer. We did not say much. What is there? Two men who got worked by the same woman sitting in the same neon, being idiots together. Then I went home, and Knock was there, cooking, the good smell of it, garlic and chili and the moo ping on the little grill. And she smiled at me and asked, did I move the money yet? Was the German bank finished being slow? And I smiled back and I said, yeah, nearly. Few more days, because I had already decided how this was going to go. And it was not going to be a fight. I did not confront her. I want to say that clearly, because people always ask, why did you not scream at her, throw her out, make her cry the way she made those men cry? And the answer is, what would that give me? A scene? A show? Her tears, real or not, I could never tell the difference anyway. That was the whole problem. No, a confrontation is a thing you do when you still want something from the person. And I did not want anything from her anymore. Not even the satisfaction. So I did what you do with a bad section of the mind. You do not stand there arguing with the rock. You seal it off and you walk away quiet. For 3 more days I played the dumb German. It was not hard. I had been playing him for 2 months without knowing it. So playing him on purpose was easy. She would ask about the money, the German bank. Is it slow? And I would nod and say, soon, Krengjai. Patience. You taught me patience. Knock. And she would smile. That smile, knowing what I knew now, watching that smile work on me, was a strange thing. Like watching a magician after someone has told you the trick. You see the hand move and you think, how did I not see that hand before? I used those 3 days to move my things that mattered. The passport, the bank books, the papers for the visa. I put them with Klaus. I had to go to Klaus. That was the hardest part of the whole business. Harder than knock, if you want the truth. I knocked on his door in Yomtien, and he opened it and looked at me, and he did not say, I told you so. He is a good man, Klaus. He just stepped back and let me in and put the kettle on, and I told him everything, and he listened, and at the end he just said, yeah. And then he said, you did not give her the big money? And I said, no. And he nodded and said, then you are all right, Wolfgang. You are all right. Most of them, they find out after. You found out before? That is the whole difference. And that is the whole difference. Before, not after. 7,000 euro I did not spend. What I did spend, let me be honest with you, all the way honest, no rounding to make myself look better. The mother's hospital, 35,000 baht, 900 euro. The months of rent for her, the money to Burram, the brother's school, the little bits here and there. Added all up over the 2 months, it was maybe 45,000 baht, a bit over 1,100 euro. That is what my education cost. 1,100 euro and a piece of my pride I will not get back. That is nothing. You hear the stories on this channel. Men who lost the house, the whole pension, 2 million baht on a build for a family that laughed at them behind the hand. 1,100 euro. I got off so light it almost embarrasses me to sit here and tell it like a sad story. It is not a sad story. It is a lucky one. The last morning I did not make a speech. She was at the shop. I left the apartment, the one I had been paying for, gave the landlord notice, and I moved down to Yomtien near Klaus. I blocked her on the line. The messages came first from her other numbers. Where are you, Wolfgang? I worry, the shopman is waiting. My mother asked for you. And I did not answer any of them. After maybe a week they changed. They got hard. Then they stopped. Once the money is not coming, you are not a person to them anymore. You are just a door that closed. And that is fine. That is honest in its way. At least at the end, there was no more pretending from either of us. Now here is the part 1 have thought about the most, and it is the part 1 want to leave you with. So listen. I do not hate her. I know that is strange. I sat with it a long time and I cannot get to hate, because I keep thinking about Burram, about the rice country, about a woman who is the eldest daughter with a father gone, and a mother who maybe really is sick, who came down to Pattaya with nothing, and learned that the one thing that reliably makes money is a lonely old Farang with a full bank account and a hole in his chest where his wife used to be. She did not invent that game. The world set it up and handed her the pieces. If I had been born her in that village, with those choices, I do not know what I would have done. I would like to say something noble. I am not sure it would be true. And the cruelest part, the part one will carry, is that I will never know what was real. Maybe none of it. Maybe the knee, maybe the laugh over the papaya, maybe a small true thing here and there mixed in so I could never sort it. That is the real theft, not the 1,100 euro. She took away my ability to know whether any of the kindness was kindness. That is worth more than money, and it does not come back. So what do I tell you? What did 30 years underground and 2 months in Pattaya teach me that I can hand to you? Just this. It is the one thing. I told you at the start I am not a clever man, and it is true I did not catch her because I was clever. I caught her because of one boring habit. You do not go into the hole you have not inspected. You do not send the money until you have seen the thing with your own eyes. The paper, the landlord, the shop, the face of the man you are paying. Not because everyone is a liar, most people are not, but because the cost of checking is one uncomfortable question, and the cost of not checking is everything you have. The dangerous Farang is not the fool. The fool at least knows he is a fool and watches his step. The dangerous one is the man who is sure. The man who stands on Walking Street feeling superior. That was me. My certainty nearly cost me the shop money, and it did cost me 1,100 euro, and my friend Klaus for a while. Though I got him back. Do not be certain. Be the man who checks the gear. Even when nothing is wrong. Especially when nothing is wrong. I am still here, by the way. Still in Thailand. Still in Yomtien, near Klaus, drinking a Leo most evenings on a plastic stool, watching the monks in the morning. I did not let it chase me home to that silent house. Why should it? This was never her country to take from me. It is a good country. I just learned to keep my eyes open in it. And I still get my knee done. Different shop. I tip normal now. That is Wolfgang's story. And I thank him for telling it straight. The good and the foolish both. Because it is not easy for a proud man to sit and say, I nearly became the thing I laughed at. Here is what stays with me about this one. Most of the stories we tell you on this channel are about the money that left and never came back. This one is about the money that stayed, and the reason it stayed was not luck and it was not intelligence. It was a habit. A quiet, boring, unglamorous habit of checking before you commit, carried up out of a coal mine in the Ruhr Valley and into a massage shop in Pattaya. Wolfgang did not out-clever anyone. He simply refused at the last moment to skip the step he had never skipped in 30 years of dangerous work. See the paper. Meet the landlord. Shake the hand. Put your lamp on the thing before you trust your weight to it. And notice he does not leave here hating anyone. He holds two hard things at once. That he was genuinely used, and that the woman who used him was a real person with a real history and few good roads out. That is the honest place to land. Not bitterness, not naivety, eyes open. If you are out there right now lonely, with more in your account than you are used to, and someone patient and kind has appeared to help you spend it on a dream, the two of you will build together. You do not have to run. You do not have to assume the worst of her. You just have to ask the boring question and go and see the thing with your own eyes before the money moves. If it is real, it survives one question. If it does not survive one question, then you already have your answer, and it just costs you nothing but a little discomfort. For this is Thailand. Thank you for watching. Look after yourselves. Look after your mates the way Klaus looked after Wolfgang, and keep your eyes open out there.